There is a hush in the room when truth walks in. Not the kind of truth wrapped in fine silk and stitched with silver tongue, but the kind that limps, the kind that has known dark nights and stayed through them, the kind that smells like rusted chains, but sings like a freed spirit. That truth is what I have come to speak about today. We are gathered not for applause, nor for praise, nor for self-congratulation. We are gathered because there is something in us, some spark, some ache, some distant cry, that knows this life is not all surface and shadow. There are people, some of you in this room, who were born touched, born different, not better, not more important, but marked in ways the world does not often understand. We call them the chosen. And yet for all their gifts, their brilliance, their insight, their leadership, why is it that so often the chosen ones are also the loneliest? Why is it that the people most capable of great change are the ones who carry the deepest wounds? Why are so many of them broken in quiet corners of themselves, away from the camera's eye and the stage's light? It is a question that aches with history. Look to the prophets, to the poets, to the revolutionaries. Look to the teachers who walked barefoot down broken roads, to the artists who painted their pain into beauty, to the visionaries who were scorned before they were celebrated. Their lives were rarely paved with comfort, their nights seldom lit with companionship. They spoke truth, and for that they paid a price. Let me tell you, the world is suspicious of those who see too much. To be chosen is not merely to be talented or smart. It is not simply to be elected or applauded. To be chosen is to be called. And when you are called, you are also consecrated, and that consecration burns, it isolates, it strips away. Because you can't walk with the many if you're meant to lead them somewhere new. You can't always laugh with the crowd if your ears are tuned to a frequency they can't hear. This world does not always make room for those whose eyes are wide open. A chosen one is often lonely because they speak a language others have not yet learned. They see connections others miss. They carry burdens others cannot imagine. They are misunderstood, mislabeled, mistaken, and so they retreat. Not always by choice, but by necessity. And in that retreat, something sacred begins to grow, because the fire that does not burn you away builds you. And so we find them, our changemakers, our healers, our guides, not in the center of the crowd, but in the quiet corners. We find them in journals stained with tears, in prayers whispered in the dark, in songs sung to no one, but meant for everyone. We find them studying when others sleep, building when others destroy, loving when others fear. Loneliness for the chosen is not just an emotion, it is a teacher. And it teaches this, that solitude is not the absence of worth, but the birthplace of purpose. There is a silence that does not signify emptiness, but preparation. A brokenness that does not mean failure, but transformation. Butterflies do not fly without first dissolving into nothing. There is a pressure placed on chosen ones from the moment their light starts to flicker. Expectations rise like tides. Families look to them. Communities lean on them. Institutions reward them, but also demand from them. And all the while, inside, the chosen are often breaking. Quietly, elegantly, alone. We see the accolades, but not the anxiety. We see the awards, but not the ache. We see the speech, but not the silence that follows. And too often we mistake strength for invincibility. Let us not make that mistake here. Let us tell the truth today. Let us admit that even those who seem chosen by fate, especially those, often live with a grief they can't name, and a solitude they can't shake. Why? Because when you are made to feel everything, you cannot turn it off. When you carry the dreams of generations, you also carry their wounds. And when you are built to lead, to heal, to innovate, to protect, then you are also built to feel more deeply, fall more fully, and yes, break more profoundly. But listen closely. Broken does not mean ended. Lonely does not mean unloved. And pain is not the enemy of purpose. It is often the forge where purpose is born. We must reframe our understanding. We live in a time that worships constant visibility, where every success is broadcast and every weakness hidden. But I say to you now, the most valuable parts of a diamond are formed in places no eye has seen. The loneliness of the chosen is not a flaw to be fixed, but a reality to be honored. It teaches resilience. It demands self-knowing. It produces visionaries who can walk through storms and still build bridges. And the brokenness, that too is sacred. The Japanese have a practice called kintsugi, where broken pottery is mended with gold. The cracks are not hidden, they are illuminated, because the history of the piece is what makes it beautiful. What if we treated our chosen ones the same way? What if we allowed our leaders to be human? What if we gave our brightest minds room to rest? What if we gave our changemakers time to heal? What if we made space in our organizations, our schools, our families, for the truth that the ones we count on most are often the ones struggling hardest in the quiet? Because here is what I know. The chosen do not need to be fixed. They need to be seen. Seen not just for their productivity or performance, but for their full, flawed, magnificent humanity. We need to stop demanding superhuman resilience from the very people carrying the weight of our futures. We need to build systems, not just of reward, but of restoration. We need to stop pretending that burnout is a badge of honor. And we need to teach a new gospel that it is okay to pause, that it is noble to ask for help, that even the strongest need softness, that loneliness does not make you weak. It is often proof that you are walking a path others have not yet dared to tread. Let us look at our children, the quiet ones, the imaginative ones, the ones who don't quite fit. Let us protect their difference. Let us nourish it, because those are the seeds of greatness. And greatness does not always grow in the sun. Sometimes it grows in shadow. Let us look at our colleagues, the ones who give tirelessly, who answer the calls, who always seem composed. Let us ask them sincerely, "Are you okay?" Let us make it safe for them to say no. Let us build workplaces that honor healing as much as hustle. Let us look at ourselves too. If you feel broken, you are not alone. If you feel lonely, you are not lost. If you feel called to something bigger than what you can yet name, know this: there is nothing wrong with you. You are not too much. You are not too sensitive. You are not too intense. You are just chosen, and the choosing comes with a cost, but also a profound inheritance. There is a certain rhythm to the lives of those who are here to change things. It is not always graceful, but it is holy. You will stumble, you will question, you will cry when no one is watching, but you will also rise. You will speak, and something ancient will wake inside those who hear you. You will act, and others will find their courage in your steps. You will love, and someone who thought themselves unlovable will believe again. That is the power of the chosen. But they cannot do it alone. We must stop romanticizing the lone genius, the solitary savior. We need each other. Community is not a luxury, it is a lifeline. Let us be each other's sanctuary. Let us create spaces where brilliance and brokenness can coexist without shame. Let us sit beside those who suffer, and not rush to fix them. Let us learn to listen with our hearts and not just our ears. Let us celebrate not just the triumphs, but the tenacity it took to get there. Because behind every chosen one is a story the world was not patient enough to hear. Let us be patient. Let us be kind. Let us be wise enough to know that some stars burn brightest not in the center of the sky, but in its quiet corners. I have seen the chosen ones rise from ashes. I have seen them build new worlds while their own hearts were breaking. I have seen them teach with empty bellies, lead with bleeding feet, create with trembling hands. And I have seen them love. Oh, how they love. Their love is a revolution. Their presence is a gift. Their loneliness is not a defect. It is the mark of someone who walks between worlds. They are the bridge between what is and what could be. And if we are lucky, if we are wise, we will not just admire them, we will care for them. Because the chosen ones are not just here to lead us. They are here to remind us who we really are. And if you are one of them, if you feel in your bones that you were made for something more, then know this: you are not broken beyond repair. You are breaking open. You are not alone in your ache. You are among kindred. And you are not here to prove your worth. You are here to live your truth. So go on, walk that strange and sacred path. Honor the loneliness when it comes. It is shaping you. Tend gently to the brokenness. It is refining you. And never forget, the light you carry may be heavy, but it is holy. You are chosen, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to feel, willing to see, willing to rise again, even when no one claps. Willing to be the kind of soul this world so desperately needs. So go on, beloved. Shine, even in the dark, especially in the dark. That's where your light is needed most. And now that we have begun to speak of shining in the dark, let us not rush past that image. Let us dwell in it a moment longer, because it is in the dark, before the curtain rises, before the crowd gathers, before the triumph, that the true shaping happens. You see, the chosen ones are not forged in the applause. They are tempered in the silence. They are not sculpted on the mountain. They are carved in the valley, stone by stone, breath by breath, truth by tremulous truth. And so many, perhaps even some of you here, have confused darkness with failure. You've thought, because no one sees me, I must not matter. You've thought, because I feel alone, I must be forgotten. You've thought, because I hurt, I must be doing something wrong. But what if that hurt is holy? What if that aloneness is not abandonment, but a sacred pause, a stretching of the soul's lungs before it learns to sing its next song? Let me offer you this truth, spoken not from perfection, but from witnessing. The darkness is not always punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. Sometimes it is the place where your character is built strong enough to carry your calling. A seed does not sprout in the sunlight alone. It breaks unseen beneath the surface, and even in breaking it reaches. Even in pressure, it expands. That is what the chosen do. They rise while breaking. They walk while bleeding. They serve while aching. And still, they do not stop loving. But let me be honest with you. That kind of life takes its toll. We must not romanticize suffering. That is not the message. To be chosen is not to be condemned to constant pain. It is to be honest about what the path costs, and to be vigilant about who helps you carry it. The danger, you see, is that chosen ones are often so used to carrying others that they forget to be carried. They are so practiced in holding space that they forget how to ask for space of their own. They become symbols when what they truly are is human, and humans need rest. They need laughter. They need unguarded moments. They need friendships that do not require performance. They need silence that heals, not isolates. They need circles where they are not the leader, not the inspiration, but simply someone who is loved. It is not weakness to need these things. It is wisdom. If we want our chosen ones to last, not just to rise and burn out, but to endure, to flourish, we must invest in their humanity, not just their gifts. This is not merely a personal message. It is an institutional one. It is an organizational one. It is societal. Whether you are a leader of a company, a classroom, a congregation, or a community, you are shaping the ecosystem in which the chosen ones must either thrive or wither. And that ecosystem must change. We must build cultures where empathy is currency, where boundaries are respected, where vulnerability is not exploited but honored, where checking in on someone is not seen as weakness but as wisdom, where the ones who light the torches are not left in the cold after the parade. We must remember this. No candle can keep burning if it is never tended, so tend to them. Tend to each other. Tend to yourself. Because here's the deeper truth. Every person in this room, in some way, has been chosen. Chosen by time. Chosen by circumstance. Chosen by need. Some of you were chosen young to hold the family together, to rise above your generation's wounds, to parent your parents. Some of you were chosen by crisis, pushed into purpose because someone had to lead, someone had to survive, someone had to hope, and some of you are being chosen right now. You feel the stirring, the unrest, the growing discomfort with the life you've known. That's not failure. That's the call. It comes differently for each of us. Sometimes it's a whisper that won't leave you alone. Sometimes it's a breakdown that brings everything to light. Sometimes it's a door closing so loudly you can't ignore what's next. Whatever form it takes, the call is never convenient, but it is always correct. And the loneliness that follows it, that too has its place. Because stepping into your truth will often mean stepping away from what made you feel safe. It may mean disappointing people who were never meant to walk your full journey. It may mean shedding identities that no longer fit, leaving behind roles you were praised for, and embracing parts of yourself that no one has yet affirmed. That kind of transition is not tidy. It is not polite. It is raw. It is often lonely, but it is real. And on the other side of that loneliness is liberation, the kind that lets you sleep fully at night, knowing that your life speaks in your true voice, the kind that allows you to walk into rooms and not shrink to fit them, the kind that doesn't just impress the world, but nourishes your soul. And here is what is most remarkable. When you answer the call, when you honor your choosing, even with your trembling hands, you become a lighthouse. Not because you are perfect, but because your light is real, because you've walked through storms and you still stand, because you've known the silence and still chose to sing, because you were broken, yes, but you were not destroyed. And that resilience, that deep, bone-deep truth, is what gives others permission to begin their own becoming. It is not your polish that inspires them. It is your presence, your honesty, your willingness to be fully alive, even when it hurts. So let us stop pretending. Let us stop demanding masks from one another. Let us not shame the struggle. Let us not hide the breaking. Let us say, yes, I have been chosen, and yes, I have been tired. Let us say, yes, I am gifted, but I am also grieving. Let us say, yes, I lead, but sometimes I long to be led. And let us say it together, so no one has to carry it alone. There is no weakness in needing rest. There is no shame in needing space. There is no failure in feeling lost. What matters is that you stay with your truth, that you honor it, that you keep going, not at a sprint, not at a sacrifice, but with sacred pacing, one step, one breath, one truth at a time, because chosen ones don't run toward applause, they move toward alignment, and that alignment is a compass more accurate than any map. Do not let the world rush you. Do not let the noise of ambition drown out the whisper of intuition. Do not trade your soul for a standing ovation, because at the end of the day, what you are building is not just a career, not just a reputation, not just a legacy, but a life, a whole, healed, and honest life, and that life will be your most enduring offering. So if you find yourself in a moment of breaking, do not rush to rebuild. Pause. Let the pieces teach you what they were made of. Let the silence show you what you've been avoiding. Let the loneliness become a mirror, and then a doorway. Because what awaits you on the other side is not just restoration, but revelation. The clarity that only comes after everything false has fallen away. The courage that is born from survival. The community that forms when you stop pretending and start becoming. And the joy, not the giddy kind, but the deep-rooted kind that comes from living in full integrity with your calling. That is what it means to be chosen. Not that life will be easy, but that your life will be meaningful. Not that you will always feel celebrated, but that you will always be true. Not that you will never be broken, but that your breaking will be beautiful. So to all of you who have felt unseen, we see you. To those who have carried too much in silence, we hear you. To those who have wondered if they are still worthy in the midst of their weariness, you are. And to those who are rising again after falling, we honor your strength, your softness, and your sacred yes to life. You do not need to be perfect to be powerful. You do not need to be whole to be holy. You do not need to be celebrated to be called. You are already enough. You are already chosen. And though the road may be lonely at times, you are not walking it alone. We are here, and we will walk beside you, not as spectators, not as judges, but as fellow travelers, each with our own breaking, each with our own becoming, each with our own sacred light to bear. So walk on, brave soul. Walk slowly if you must. Rest if you need. Cry if you must. But do not let the loneliness make you forget your belonging. You were born for this. You were made for more. And when your voice trembles, let it tremble and still be heard. Because the world needs not just your brilliance, but your brokenness made beautiful. And you, yes you, are the living proof that even in the quiet, even in the dark, even in the solitude of becoming, the chosen ones endure. And the chosen ones rise, again and again and again. So rise, not for them, not for the applause, not even for the title, but for the truth, for the light, for the life that only you can live. And know this always, the choosing was never a punishment. It was a promise. And you, beloved, you are its fulfillment. And if ever you doubt your place in this wide, trembling world, if ever you find yourself looking around, wondering why the weight is heaviest on your shoulders, why the road you walk is the one with the fewest footprints, remember this: you were not chosen for your ease. You were chosen for your essence, not because you are stronger than others, but because your spirit is shaped for something sacred. Because within you is a tenderness deep enough to feel the pain of others and not turn away. Because within you is a vision clear enough to see through what is and imagine what could be. Because within you is a fire that does not burn to destroy, but to refine. And those who carry such fire are rarely comfortable. They cannot rest in shallow waters. Their hearts won't let them. The deep calls to them, and that call is not polite. It interrupts, it disrupts, it dismantles. It dares to say, this is not enough. There is more to be done. There is a greater truth to live. And so the chosen ones wrestle. They wrestle with silence and longing, with dreams too large for language, with ache too vast for answers. They wrestle with their own reflection, wondering whether the world will ever understand what they carry. But understanding was never the point. The calling was never meant to be universally approved. It was meant to be true. It was meant to stretch you. It was meant to usher you beyond the borders of comfort into the terrain of your real radiant self. And you may lose people there. You may outgrow spaces that once felt like home. You may watch as familiar faces no longer recognize the you who is rising. Do not fear that loss. There is a cost to authenticity, and it is worth paying. For what you gain in return is not just alignment, it is freedom. The freedom to walk in your truth without shrinking. The freedom to speak without softening your story. The freedom to give without disappearing. The freedom to receive without guilt. That freedom is the fruit of the choosing. And yes, it is bitter before it is sweet. But once you taste it, truly taste it, there is no going back. There is no fitting into molds once you've melted them. There is no pretending not to know what your soul has already named. There is no smallness that can contain the vastness you've become. So let us not teach our children to avoid the struggle. Let us teach them to embrace it as sacred soil. Let us not hide the ache from our communities. Let us invite them into spaces where healing is possible. Let us not demand resilience without offering rest. Let us create structures where the soul is valued as deeply as the skill. For the chosen are not only among us, they are us. We see them in classrooms, where a young girl speaks softly but holds galaxies in her gaze. We see them in office spaces, where someone leads not with force but with listening. We see them on the streets, in churches, in families, in quiet corners of the world, carrying light no one told them how to carry, doing work no one fully sees, becoming what they never had. And when we recognize them, we must not simply admire them, we must support them. We must stop confusing visibility with value. Some of the most powerful people are not the ones with the loudest voices, but the ones who keep showing up, keep standing up, keep loving forward even when the cost is high. Let us be wise enough to look for those people, and let us be bold enough to be those people. Let us redefine what it means to be strong, not as unshakable but as unafraid to feel. Let us redefine success, not as accumulation but as alignment. Let us redefine leadership, not as dominance but as the courage to go first in vulnerability, to hold space for truth, to create room for others to rise. Because true leadership is not about being followed, it is about making it safe for others to be fully themselves. And chosen ones know this instinctively. They are architects of belonging. They are midwives of transformation. They are alchemists of the invisible. And even when they feel unseen, they are shaping the very foundations upon which more visible lives are built. We must not forget them. We must not become so enamored with performance that we miss the power of presence. We must not become so addicted to spectacle that we neglect the sacred, steady work of those who labor in the shadows. And to you, if you are among them, if you are one who feels the weight and the wonder of being chosen, I offer you this: you are not invisible. You are invaluable. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not broken beyond repair. You are breaking into truth. You are not alone. You are in holy company. Let your heart not be hardened by the hurt. Let it be deepened. Let your hope not be dimmed by delay. Let it be refined. Let your soul not be silenced by skepticism. Let it speak. And if your voice trembles, let it tremble in truth. For truth is what sets us free, not just from oppression, but from pretending. Let us be free. Let us be honest. Let us be whole. Let us tell the full stories, not just the highlights, not just the victories, but the valleys, the wounds, the becoming, because those stories are sacred, and in them we find one another. And in finding each other, we remember we are not meant to carry this alone. So reach out, tell the truth, risk being seen, risk being loved, not for what you do, but for who you are. Let someone witness your becoming. Let someone walk with you through the lonely places. Because even the most brilliant stars need constellation. Even the strongest among us need sanctuary. Even the chosen need to be chosen back. That perhaps is our greatest call, to be sanctuary for one another. To be safe spaces in a world that often rushes past the soul. To be present enough to hear what is not said. To be patient enough to wait through the silence. To be loving enough to stand beside each other, not only when we are winning, but when we are weeping. For in those moments we are most human. And being human is not a weakness. It is our greatest gift. It is the ground from which empathy grows. It is the mirror that reveals our shared divinity. So if you are chosen, be human still. Do not lose your softness. Do not forget your laughter. Do not neglect your joy. Let your life be more than service. Let it be celebration. Let it be dance. Let it be rest. Let it be light, not only for others but for yourself. Because that is the legacy worth leaving. Not a life that looks perfect, but a life that loves deeply, not a life that is admired from afar, but one that is shared, felt, and remembered in the hearts of those it touched. And when the end comes, when the crowd has gone quiet, when the lights are dimmed, when the final chapter is written, may it be said of you, not simply that you were successful or talented or brilliant, but that you were true, that you were tender, that you were willing to be broken for something greater than your comfort, that you did not run from the call, even when it cost you, that you did not let the loneliness stop your light, that you walked the road only you could walk, and that you walked it in love. That is the mark of the chosen, not that they are above pain, but that they walk through it and still choose to sing. So sing, chosen one. Sing even when your voice shakes. Sing even when the world is silent. Sing even when you feel forgotten. Because somewhere, someone is listening, and in your song they will hear their own, and they too will rise. And when they rise, not in imitation but in remembrance, they will not rise alone. They will rise carrying the thread you left in your wake. The invisible bond formed when one soul dares to be seen, so another dares to begin. This is the quiet architecture of transformation. It does not always roar. It does not always wear medals. It does not always make headlines. But it matters more than almost anything else, because it's the kind of rising that outlasts storms. It's the kind of rising that builds bridges between generations, that echoes in the marrow of movements, that plants trees under which others may one day rest. So often we measure legacy by visibility, but there are legacies built in whispers, in late-night courage, in holding space when no one claps, in choosing peace instead of pride, in choosing the long road instead of the fast one, in choosing truth when a lie might be easier. These are the choices the chosen make, again and again, quietly, faithfully, alone, sometimes. And it is these choices that shape the world from the inside out. But let us not confuse the quiet with passivity. There is nothing passive about rising when you are weary. There is nothing soft about holding firm in your values while the world asks you to trade them for convenience. There is nothing weak about crying and continuing. That is the strength of the chosen. Not that they never fall, but that they fall with grace and rise with clarity, that they mourn their losses and still choose to hope, that they know what it means to be alone but never let that keep them from reaching out. This is why the chosen are often mistaken for strange ones, for wanderers, for outliers, because they are building something others cannot yet see, because they are faithful to a vision that has not yet arrived, because they are dancing to music that is not yet popular, because they are planting seeds in soil others have written off. And yes, it can be lonely to see that far ahead. It can be isolating to love that deeply, to feel that fully, to believe that fiercely. But oh, how necessary it is. The future is carried not by cynics, but by those who still dare to dream, the ones who keep loving even when it hurts, the ones who keep creating even when it's not applauded, the ones who keep building even when others have stopped believing. They are the keepers of the long hope. They are the ones who hold on to justice, on to mercy, on to joy not yet born. And yes, sometimes they break under the burden of it. Sometimes their hearts fracture with the weight of so much feeling. But it is through those cracks that light pours in, not just to them, but through them. And that light is how we find each other. That light is how we remember we are not alone. So if you feel the weight, carry it with care. But do not let it convince you that you are not worthy of rest. Do not let it deceive you into thinking you must always be strong. Rest is not retreat. Softness is not surrender. Silence is not absence. It is in rest that you are restored. It is in softness that you are most receptive to truth. It is in silence that you can hear the song of your soul return. The chosen ones do not avoid rest. They honor it. They know that a candle left burning too long becomes smoke. They know that a soul stretched too thin becomes brittle. They know that what they give to the world must first be nourished within. So they learn to pull back. They learn to say no, not from fear but from wisdom. They learn to listen inward before speaking outward. And they learn that to sustain the gift they must also tend the vessel. So tend it. Tend your body. Tend your mind. Tend your heart, your imagination, your sacred fire. Tend it not just when it's flickering but while it's still burning bright, so that it doesn't become ash. You are not here to burn out. You are here to light up. You are not here to be used up. You are here to be used well. And being used well does not mean being used endlessly. There is a rhythm to this life, and it includes your breath, your pause, your boundaries, your joy. Let that be part of the work too. Let joy be part of the resistance. Let stillness be part of the strategy. Let your humanity be part of the healing. Because what this world needs most is not more perfect people, but more present people. More people willing to be real, to be kind, to be steady even when it's hard. More people willing to let their wounds be seen so that others might not feel ashamed of theirs. More people willing to walk into dark places with open hands instead of pointing fingers. That is what the chosen do. They show up, not always polished, not always with answers, but always with love. And love, let us be clear, is not passive. It is fierce, it is rooted, it is revolutionary. To love in a world that has taught us to numb is an act of rebellion. To hope in a world that rewards cynicism is a sacred defiance. To believe in goodness yours and others is to participate in the reweaving of a broken world. So do not let them make you small. Do not let the cold world harden you. Do not let disappointment eclipse your wonder. The world needs your wonder. The world needs your voice, your laughter, your wild ideas and wild compassion. It needs you, not some idealized version of you, but the honest you, the becoming you, the you that is still learning, still healing, still dreaming, even in the ruins. That you is enough, that you is radiant, that you is sacred, and if you forget it, come back to this moment, come back to the sound of your own breath, come back to the memory of what called you in the first place. Come back to the truth that being chosen is not about being superior, it's about being surrendered, surrendered to love, surrendered to growth, surrendered to the kind of becoming that cannot be rushed, cannot be faked, cannot be copied. You are not here to follow a script, you are here to write a story that only you can write, so write it, even when the ink runs dry, even when the pages are torn, even when the ending is unclear. Write it with courage, write it with your whole heart. Write it with the trembling honesty of someone who has known both pain and beauty, and who has not let either define them completely. And when that story is read, whether by one soul or many, let it be said that it rang true. Let it be said that it was not easy, but it was real. Let it be said that in a world quick to forget, you remembered who you were. You remembered who you are. You remembered that the loneliness of the chosen is not the absence of love, but the space love needs to grow. You remembered that brokenness is not the opposite of strength. It is what allows strength to emerge with tenderness. You remembered that you were never meant to carry the burden alone. And you reached for others, and they reached back. And in that reaching, a new kind of world began. One rooted in truth. One rooted in compassion. One where the chosen walk not ahead of others, but beside them. And that quietly, steadily, gloriously, is how the light wins. Not all at once, but one soul at a time, one step at a time, one honest breath after another. And you, beloved, you are part of that breath. You are part of that step. You are part of that light. So carry it gently, carry it fiercely, carry it with the full knowing that your loneliness is not your end. It is simply the beginning of something deeper, something wilder, something truer than the world has yet seen. And it begins with you.